Welcome, lovely friends, to another Lissa video. Not gonna talk about what's been going on. I want to get my mind off of it by sharing some cool information about broccoli. Yeah, we're gonna talk about broccoli in this video, so let's get to it. Thanks for joining me. So great to have you guys here, and it's really awesome that we have this time when we can make some videos and share some cool tips and tricks and neat information about stuff. If you want, we have some recipe books with awesome raw vegan recipes. You can get the link for the ebooks right here. Link for the print versions is available in the description box below. But let's get to it. We've got our little kitty here to keep you guys occupied while you listen to what I want to share. But I want to talk about broccoli, some little known facts about broccoli that I've discovered over the years that I just want to share with you. I believe broccoli is such an amazing and important thing to include in our diets. Cruciferous vegetables are so wonderful. They provide a lot of protection and immune boosting properties. Sprouting them is probably, I feel, the most ideal way to consume the broccoli to get the best benefit with easiest digestion. The way that I would recommend doing the sprouts would be to soak them in clean, pure water for overnight. And then once you drain them, you rinse them about 2, 3, 4 times a day. I feel the more often they're rinsed, the less likely they are to get moldy. Because sometimes if you rinse it first thing in the morning around 7 in the morning and then you rinse it at 7 at night, sometimes that's a little bit too long to go while it's sitting in the water. So rinsing them more often is the best way to do it, but 48 hours after you initially drain it. So if you soak the sprout seeds overnight, and then first thing in the morning, you rinse them, you rinse off all of the gases that are exposed and all of that. Just rinse them until the water doesn't have any bubbles in it. Rinse them really well, and then after you rinse them that very first time, after 48 hours of continued rinsing, that's when the sulforaphane is at its peak. So eat a cup of those sprouts every day, and you could have different jars going different days so that you always have a constant supply of sprouts. Is a great idea and has that high amount of sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is part of like cancer prevention, and the fiber in the broccoli boosts our immune system. So yeah, it's very important to, I think, this is just my opinion, I think broccoli is a very important thing to include, and Nate and I do include it often. We're going to start including more sprouts. We do a lot of lentil sprouts. I have some radish sprouts that I want to start as well. Sprouting is really good, especially during this time. You can have lots of seeds on hand and just keep having fresh food if you start your sprouts more often. But again, the general rule for sprouting, you soak your seeds or lentils or chickpeas overnight, and then you rinse them in the morning, and then rinse them 2 to 3 times a day until they have little tails, and then they're ready to eat. You can add them to your salads, you can throw them in raw burgers, you can throw them in anything really. You can just eat them straight, put a little dressing on them, and they're awesome food sources. So I wanted to also talk about the sulforaphane that's in broccoli, and there's an enzyme called myrosinase, which is released during chopping and chewing. So when you chew your broccoli or you blend it in the blender or you chop it on the counter, this enzyme interacts with a sulforaphane precursor, and it takes about 40 minutes for the sulforaphane to produce through that reaction. The thing is that heat kills that enzyme. So if you take your broccoli and you boil it, you're killing the enzyme, so you're not actually getting the same amount of sulforaphane, the anti-cancer properties of the broccoli, when you just chop it and throw it in there. The trick is to chop it and then let it sit for 40 minutes and then cook it. And that can be a little bit time-consuming issues, but that's how you need to do it if you want to get the sulforaphane. Another little trick you could do if you don't have time to wait the 40 minutes before you cook it, you could just cook it and add mustard powder to it, because the mustard powder has some myrosinase in it as well, as long as the mustard powder isn't dried at high heats, deactivating that enzyme. So you could add fresh cruciferous to it to like give a little bit of that enzyme back. But honestly, I mean, the raw way is the best way to get that sulforaphane in the best amounts. But yeah, if you do need to cook it, I just wanted to throw that out there because it's a tip that I had no idea. I used to always chop the broccoli and then just cook it. Obviously, I don't cook my food now, but in the past, I used to do that all the time. So I was actually missing out on a lot of the benefits that sulforaphane gave to my body by not allowing the broccoli to wait before I cooked it. Now, the thing is also when you buy frozen broccoli from the store, most of that broccoli has been flash pasteurized and heated to prevent bacterial growth during the freezing process and to keep us safe. So that heat has killed a lot of the myrosinase. So even if you take it out of the freezer and put it in your pot, you're not going to get the benefit of the sulforaphane either. So the trick around that, if you want to eat the cooked broccoli, then you'll have to chop the broccoli yourself, let it sit, and then freeze it. I'm not sure if the freezing kills the enzyme or whatnot, but the final product, the sulforaphane precursor and the final product, the sulforaphane itself, are heat resistant. It's that enzyme that creates the sulforaphane, which is so affected by the heat. So that is, yeah, I just wanted to share this. So cool information that I've learned over the years. The sprouts are the best way to get the sulforaphane because, as I mentioned, they reach their peak sulforaphane at 48 hours after the initial rinse of your sprouts. So adding the sprouts is really great. Chopping your broccoli and letting it sit a little bit before you cook it, or just eat it raw the way we do. Eating it raw is a great option too because the chewing action releases that myrosinase. It interacts with the precursor and creates the sulforaphane. So while it's in your stomach, while it's waiting to be digested, all of that sulforaphane is being created in your intestinal tract. So broccoli soup, great option. If you're going to make broccoli soup though, I recommend blending the raw broccoli in the Vitamix to get that myrosinase going, let it sit for a little bit and then warm it up. Or blend it, let it sit, and then continue blending in the Vitamix to have a raw broccoli soup. I don't have a really awesome raw broccoli soup recipe, but if you guys do, share in below for people who are interested in doing some raw broccoli soup or even cooked broccoli soup if that's what you want to do. But yeah, just wanted to share that information. It's cool stuff that I've learned over the years, and it's a great thing to talk about instead of the coronavirus, right? So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you want awesome, great raw recipes, you can get the link here or in the description box below. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Raw Food Romance. You can find me on Facebook, Lissa's Raw Food Romance, and on Snapchat, Lissa Raw Vegan. So hope you enjoyed and hope you're safe. Remember to spread the love and the positivity. Try to focus on positive things during this time. Embrace the change that's about to happen, and hopefully that we embrace the positive changes that come out of this situation. We want to change for the better. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen anyway. So let's embrace the positive change. Be happy. Allow all of that positive information to come into your life, and just try to smile as much as you can and work on yourself. This is a great time to work on yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Fruit on.